Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to Biggie Let's Talk. Where are we? Episode number 28. I think it's 28. I'll let you know in a second. But yeah, today I'm joined by Angela Jamieson. Sorry, I was still thinking of Jameson as in the whiskey from the weekend. Angela Jamieson, a writer, author, publisher, and she does guest speaking as well. So we'll get into that in a little bit. But otherwise, apart from that, hope everyone's good, hope everyone's well. I had a pretty fantastic weekend. I've been at the Seat Games. If you follow Biggie Let's Talk on Instagram, you see I've put loads of stuff on there. But yeah, well done to everybody that turned up and showed face there and represented all the athletes and everything. But you know what? Without further ado, let's bring my guest on. 1 minute, Angela, I'm going to bring you on. At the stage. Good evening, good evening, good evening,
Hey.
Angela. How are you?
Good. It's afternoon here, so
Yeah, it's afternoon.
so good to see you.
What's the time? It's 12 o'clock there, isn't it?
Well, one where I am, 1 p.m.
It's 1 p.m. Whereabouts are you?
I'm in Saskatoon, Canada.
So how far is that? Is that near Vancouver or?
Well, compared to where you are, I'm closer to Vancouver than you are. But it's still, what is it? 20-hour drive.
To Vancouver?
Yeah. Canada's a big country.
I know it is, but are you kind of like more west than Vancouver? If you're in Vancouver, are you like more west?
No, I'm east of Vancouver. Vancouver is on the west coast.
Mm-hmm. So you're kind of like more coming back towards Toronto.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I'll get you now. I thought you're right because I've been to like Vancouver Island and everything.
Oh yeah.
So you're obviously on the opposite side of that, ain't you?
Sorry?
You're on the opposite side of that, but a beautiful part of the world, Vancouver.
Yes.
I absolutely love it.
Yes, it's really nice. Hoping to get out there as well because there they've got the ocean and they've got mountains, and here I've got lots of farmers' fields and open plain.
It is what it is. Still home. So okay, so you told me where you're from. Where are you ethnically from? Originally from?
I am the child of immigrants from China, but I was born and raised here. So I'm living in kind of a dual world. I look the way I look because
I know the feeling. Don't worry.
Yeah, but then I've never lived in China. My mom actually immigrated when she was 8 years old, so she also doesn't have a huge tie to China. At least she can speak Chinese, but my dad immigrated when he was 28, so he was more ethnically Chinese, like really Chinese.
Yeah.
He read and wrote, and my mom can't do that, but they met at university and they spoke different types of Chinese, so we spoke English at home. So my Chinese sucks.
Yeah, so I know the feeling. So my parents are obviously originally from India, but then I can't read it or write it, but I can speak it fluently.
Oh,
but there's a big Chinese population in Vancouver, isn't there? There's loads, isn't there?
Yeah, I've heard of there's places where if you are anything other than Asian or Chinese, you're really in the minority.
Definitely.
But not where I live.
Okay, so your upbringing was all in Canada?
Yeah, born and raised. I was
education.
Sorry?
Education, all in Canada.
Yep, I am Canadian through and through.
You just look Chinese.
Yep.
So good. Okay, your main inspirations growing up. So whether it be an author, a writer, or singer, or your parents.
Well, that's a good question, and I was, looking back, I think it's a little bit of everyone that ever crosses your path. That of course it's your parents because you spend so much time with them. They've shown you a certain way, but as you grow up, you also look back and you say, "Oh, I don't like that so much." So as you're growing up, you're always sifting and sorting, and you're just like, "I like this about this person, and I don't like that about this person." And I was actually asked that on another podcast not so long ago, and I kind of regret my answer because I was kind of talking about some of the large influencers, but I also, because they're human, they've also got parts of their life that I don't like.
Yeah,
So
of course.
there's it's difficult to say who really is your inspiration, and I think it's dangerous to put other people on pedestals. It's like take what inspires you and learn from this part that you don't
And
like.
get the best bits from everyone.
Yeah. And be okay that and I think that's our biggest lesson, is that when we're human, we don't do everything perfectly, and that's for everybody.
Definitely. So, what about writing wise? Any inspirational people that you liked when you were younger, or even like today?
Oh, well, when I was younger, I read a lot of Nancy Drew. Do you know
Okay.
Nancy Drew?
No. I have to admit, I don't know. No.
What? Anyway, so it's kind of funny when I speak to people from the UK, I sometimes do UK-isms, but in terms of try to imitate your accent. So excuse me. But Nancy Drew is a girl sleuth. I think she was in her teens when, in terms of when her character in the book. So there was like a whole shelf load of Nancy Drew books, and I devoured them. So I love reading mystery. Of course, Agatha Christie, anything kind of mystery related, I loved reading.
Okay. Schooling all in Vancouver.
No, Saskatoon. So, um, yeah, I did even my university. I did here at the University of Saskatchewan.
Okay, but now you're based east of Vancouver. See, when I
No,
went- when I went to Vancouver, I stayed at I stayed in Richmond.
okay, yes, well, Biggie. So Saskatoon is its own city, but it's like 20-hour drive from Vancouver. So I am east of Vancouver, but everything is almost east of Vancouver except Vancouver Island.
Fair
So
enough. That's the most. That's on the edge, isn't it?
yeah, it is. So yes.
Okay, so who is Angela Jamieson behind the book?
Behind the book, well, I actually live on the same acreage I did when I was a child. So I love the whole tie to my family. Um, what I do for work right now is I'm a relaxed productivity advocate. So I'm trying to help busy professionals see the logic behind relaxing and chilling out, and seeing that it is actually the biggest booster to productivity. So that's what
Mhm.
I'm doing work wise. I was educated as an engineer and I worked overseas. So, fun fact, my best second language is Dutch, because I
Wow.
did a posting in the Netherlands, and I had to work in oil and gas fields where sometimes English wasn't spoken. So I learned Dutch. It's a little rusty now. It was about 20 years ago, but when I go back there, it still feels really comfortable. So, and then I did a second posting in Southeast Asia, in Brunei. Unfortunately, I do not speak Malay, because when I was there, I tried to learn Mandarin because I thought, I'm going to try to learn something that I look like I should speak. Um,
Yeah.
Along the way, I was also having my family, so having children. I had my daughter in the Netherlands. I have my two sons in Brunei. And when the third one came, I thought it's time to go home. So we brought back the kids to the acreage I grew up on, and we've been here ever since. And that's almost 16 years ago. It's nuts.
Fantastic. 16 years ago. Wow.
I know.
But
I'm old, man.
don't you find like normally wherever you go within Europe, most people speak good English anyway, don't they?
Uh,
I think
no.
apart from France, actually most French people do speak good English. It's just
There's
the
some.
English that don't allowed to speak any other languages. As in, I mean, for the UK.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, there's actually a lot of pockets of where people don't speak English. So it's really advantageous to speak the language of the country. But when you're traveling, thank God for Google Translate, I guess.
Yeah. I've used that loads of times when I've gone around anywhere. Hold on, 1 minute, get your phone out.
Yeah, talking to this.
Okay then. So what inspired you to write a book about poop?
Yeah,
Because
good
obviously your book
question.
is called Using Number Two to Get into Number One.
Yes.
So what
So,
inspired you? Was it a personal thing or
mhm. I mean, when you write a book, it's got to be personal, right? So
yeah?
this is my book, Using Number Two to Get to Number One. Excuse me, the shockingly insightful, full of crap self-help book.
I love
So
that. I love that introduction.
it is, yeah, the first chapter tells you why I wrote it, and it kind of has to do with the acreage I'm growing up on. The biggest, like, my awareness was so driven to um, going to the bathroom because our acreage has a septic system, and the septic pump kept getting plugged up. So my dad he suspected that we were using too much toilet paper. So he got so frustrated at us that he said, I'm going to ration the toilet paper now. So for number one, you get 1 square. For number two, you get 2 squares.
Wow.
Yeah. So he hid all the toilet paper and he put the only roll into his pocket while he was landscaping our 10 acres. And so as children, we had to, figure out when we were going to go, find my dad, tell him what we were doing, and then we would get our allotted squares, and then we would have to run back into the bathroom,
Oh damn.
so because as a kid, you don't really think about it too much.
Yeah,
And sometimes you get too late, so it was just something maybe drilled into my brain that I had to think about when and what I was doing.
you have to
But
get the time. You have to get the timing right as well.
yeah, because sometimes it didn't work, and then you'd have to yell for help from the toilet, or else you'd have to like pee outside.
Reminds me of when I was young and I went to India because the drainage pipes in India weren't so thick at the time. Obviously, they're like big now, but this is before we built our new house. The pipes are really thin. So my family said to me, when you go there, don't take so much toilet paper. They never took it off me or anything. They just said don't take so much. And they goes the flushing system is not like back home in England where you can just flush and it just goes away. You
Yeah.
have to even afterwards you have to rod it, right? With the brushes of it, or you just have to be careful of what or you have to flush it about a million times.
Yeah. That just put pictures of you sort of what is that called? Fencing.
Yeah.
Fencing with your toilet brush down the toilet.
Okay, what does using number two to get to number one actually really mean?
So yeah, it was sort of a fun play on words of, using number two, which AKA is pooping, to get to number one. And number one, not meaning peeing, but meaning your number one. So your best person, the person that you want to be. So this book is filled with personal development concepts with the metaphor of your digestive system to help sort of embed these personal development thoughts in your head. So it's not full of, fluffy poop jokes or those kind of things. It's actually kind of deep in terms of what I've gone over in the book. So
Definitely. Because
yeah.
I was thinking, you had why she named it using number two to get to number one. So I thought number one was going for a wee. But obviously now you just explained it, so it makes
Yes.
sense.
So it's and also because everyone poops, that everyone gets the metaphors, everyone gets the analogies in the book. And numerous people who have read the book have now told me they think of the concepts now that whenever they're going to the bathroom. And that's exactly what I
Exactly
want.
what you wanted, yeah.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
because when you read self-help, and I read a lot of self-help, that's kind of all I read as an adult. You get all this wisdom from a book and you have a certain feeling when you read a book, but maybe my squirrel brain can't hold on to it. So by relating it to the digestive system, then you can actually have a chance of being reminded about it
Definitely.
multiple times a day.
And obviously everybody's got a digestive system. Everybody goes for number two. So obviously everyone can relate to it. So it kind of like makes it okay. Why do people kind of like get funny or embarrassed about talking about number two?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of one of those stinky personal things that we do that, you don't want to talk about or people get made fun of, but I don't know, it's just become something that society doesn't want to talk about. And I'm
Also,
not
it's the
really,
same as letting one rip and farting or something, isn't it? So
yeah,
nobody wants to admit it, do they?
that's true, you know, and you should own it. You should be proud of
Yeah,
it.
100%. Okay, what's emotional constipation in your own words?
Well, you know, I was also asked that another podcast, and it's just when you get stuck. And I actually have a list of things you can do when you get stuck in your life, in the book. But another really key tool that I love to teach people is the emotional scale. So I learned about this concept through Abraham Hicks, who is a very wonky, weird entity that you might want to look into. But I guess Abraham Hicks would be one of my largest influences. But what they teach is that there's an emotional scale that goes from depression, which is basically you have zero moving energy. You just cannot get off the couch,
Yeah,
all the way to appreciation and authenticity and joy at the other end, where you've got like such what they call, you know, and you can hear in our vernacular of personal development, you know, high vibrations, high frequency emotions. So there's an entire scale there. And your job every day is, no matter where you are, is try to move up to joy, but yet not. If you are depressed, you cannot move to joy right away. It is looking at that scale and moving up just one level. And that one level could be, if you're depressed, the next logical place to go is anger. And
true.
it's kind of weird when you're just like, when you see someone angry, is like, give them a little grace, because they might have, that might be a move from depression. And therefore, that's a really good thing for them to be. And once they sit in anger for a while, they're going to want to get some relief. So they're going to go to frustration, which is moving in a more positive direction. So sometimes we'll see someone in anger and we'll criticize it because, you know, maybe we're in happiness or we're in contentment, and looking at someone in a negative space is frustrating because you're kind of like, come on, be happy. Like, what are you so angry? But that could be the best place for them at that moment. So emotional constipation is when you cannot move from that level. And you know, there's a lot of tips that I give in the book in order to move to the next level.
Brilliant. Okay, why did you choose toilet humor as a metaphor for a deep life lesson?
Well, we've already sort of discussed it in
Yeah,
terms of everyone can relate to it. And, you know, growing up, looking like I am and not quite fitting in anywhere I go. So, for instance, in my high school, there weren't too many Asian kids. So I don't quite fit in. And then in my Asian community, I don't speak Chinese very well. So you don't quite fit in. So it's like being aware that I needed to connect to people, and I also wanted to give people the feeling of acceptance. So when you talk about things that everyone can relate to,
yeah.
it's like no one is left out of the conversation. I can say any story in my book, and everyone will be able to say, "Oh yeah, I've
Oh,
been
yeah.
through
I
that,"
can
you
relate to that.
know?
Okay, going back to your Chinese, what language do your parents speak? Because you said they speak two different languages. Because I know
Yeah,
in China there's loads of languages, isn't there? So
yeah, and
what's the two languages that are spoken in your household back in China?
well, my dad grew up speaking Cantonese, so that's sort of used to be
That's
the
a really
language.
fast one, isn't it?
Sorry?
That's a really fast one.
Fast one. Well, they're all fast, aren't they?
Okay, yeah, and then your
Anyway,
mother.
my mother spoke, she was from a smaller village, which was only 3 million people, but she speaks Toisanese.
Never
So
heard of that.
they both left China before Mandarin was the unifying language, because, you know, China made Mandarin the language
Hmm.
that was taught in all the schools so that everyone from different provinces could speak together.
What language you
So,
speak to you? Yeah,
so my dad, he didn't speak Mandarin, my mother didn't speak Mandarin, but Mandarin is the Chinese language of today. So when I was in Brunei, I was learning Mandarin. And I was actually taking lessons earlier this year as well to try to learn Mandarin. The only problem is I don't really have anyone to practice with. So it's one of those, I learn languages really quickly if I'm forced to speak it.
And you
But
speak it.
because I'm not forced to speak Mandarin, it doesn't seem to stick in my brain. So still working on it.
Exactly. See, when I was younger, obviously I went to school here in the UK. I used to live in London at the time, and we used to own a shop, an off license, so a liquor store,
Oh yeah.
and in central London. And my parents used to say to me, "Speak to us in English, so our English improves." Even though they've been here since like the 60s or 70s, right?
Right.
And then, but I used to be too embarrassed to speak to them in English. So I just
Oh
used to speak to
yeah.
them because my grandma used to live with me at the time, and she only speak Punjabi. So that's the only thing I spoke Punjabi. That's why I speak really good Punjabi. People are like, I've had people come up to me and say, "Are you born back home?" I'm like, "Nah, man, I'm born in the UK, bro."
Aw. Well, that's really great. I mean, in
Yeah.
terms of when you speak the language, you can really grasp the
And
culture a
then
lot more.
and then you could switch because people said to me, "How can you have a conversation with somebody and then talk to another language?" So I go, "This happens naturally."
Yeah. No, it's great. And I think the more languages that kids are exposed
Oh,
to,
definitely.
you have children? You've told me you have
Yeah.
children. So have you taught
I
them
got two
Punjabi?
daughters, but they can't speak Punjabi at all. They can say the basics like yes, no, and that's it. But them they understand everything because my mom speaks to them in Punjabi all day long. So
Okay.
then up and then it's shy to speak it. That's all it is.
Right. So, well, it's nice that they're exposed to it.
And then like they've been to India about 3, 4 times, so they're exposed to it definitely. And they'll even sit and watch Indian programs with my mom and their mom, my wife. So they don't mind it. And then they listen to like Indian music, Punjabi music. So
Okay, good.
I think it's just having the confidence to speak it.
No, that's great.
With
Well,
me, I'm just like, I don't care. I'm gonna speak it no matter what.
good. Keep it up.
Okay, the what's one modern mindset or trend you think is full of crap?
Oh, well, there's so many, but I think also, again, everyone will weed through everything themselves. And when they listen to the only diagnostics they've got, which are their emotions, it'll be different for everyone. But for me, I think the hustle culture needs to be put to rest
Definitely.
because that's just like, and there's a place for it though. Like when I was in my 20s and possibly not, well, maybe I think it was starting to wane in my 30s. You know, you don't have many responsibilities. So you're just going to hustle. You're going to just do work. You're going to try to climb the ladder. You're going to do all the things that you think you should do, or the things that society praises. And yeah, that's the time to hustle. But when you get older and you get a little wiser and you start having a family and you see that there's other things other than work,
Yeah,
maybe through work disappointments or whatever, then you start to branch out and see that the hustle culture has its place, but it's not everything.
definitely. Okay, what's one chapter? What chapter was the hardest and most personal to write?
Well, they're two separate ones. So the hardest to write for me was the chapter on momentum and keeping things going. And I don't know why. I think it's because momentum is such an important concept in our life. Like that's how we get everything done. And I just
Mhm.
wanted to get that chapter right. So I did stall a lot on that chapter. But the most personal one was that the digestive system relates to the concept of connection, that there's a lot of more personal stories in there, like uh, just how the digestive system is really the only marker of our personal wellness. So when we're first born, you'll monitor the digestive habits of your baby to make sure that they're eating enough and that things are
Definitely.
working properly.
You
And
get
it's
fed on
also,
time.
yeah, and it's also the same thing at the end of our lives. When we are starting, and I tell a story of my father-in-law when he was starting to decline from dementia. He didn't have any words, but you start to see, when they stop eating, when they stop taking nutrition, then it's a marker
Definitely.
for everything. So it was about love. It was about connection.
But what about the first chapter? How was that? Did you just like get into it straight away? You had your mind, you had your idea, and you thought this is what I'm going to do, and so you just marched on.
Yeah, kind of. I did. They call it in writing. They call that pantsing. Like when you just sit down and write. I did a little bit of an outline, so I'm a plotter,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the outline. But once I had the idea and the concept I wanted for each chapter, then you sit down and just let it go.
Fair enough.
And it's
Fantastic.
kind of funny, and many authors will tell you this, like once they get in the flow, you just keep writing, and sometimes you look back and you go, hey, that was pretty good, where did that come
I
from?
think it's same with like songwriters as well, isn't it? Once they
Yeah,
got something in their mind, it's just natural to just go along with it.
yeah,
Like I know a few artists, and people will send them people there, so they'll collaborate. People will send them ideas, and he'll just write it out. That's it. And within a day, he's written 2 songs.
yep,
I think it's brilliant.
yeah.
What's been the funniest and most surprising feedback from a reader you've had?
Well, what I love hearing is how people do connect to the book, that they find it's like sitting and talking to me, that I write it very conversationally. um, I guess what I really love is when I can get people to think about things a little differently. And with that connection chapter, just this last weekend, someone used it on their story to say, I've never thought of it that way. And that's really the fun part of writing, is you can help, um, I don't know, share your ideas. And when you see people
Definitely.
connect to them, it is so rewarding.
But what's the feedback been? Mainly people are happy about it, and like you
Yeah,
said, obviously they can relate to it, so they're really pleased.
surprisingly amazing. Yeah, I've been really pleased with all the reviews, and really honored.
Okay, so if a younger Angela was to read the book, which part would hit her the hardest?
Definitely the chapter on failure. I think that was the second chapter. And I grew up, the Asian household was very high achieving. So you didn't want to talk about failure. There was
Yeah.
no, this is not acknowledged. And I had one big failure in my life. And unfortunately, my parents just didn't have the ability to help me deal with it. And it got sort of shoved under the rug. And it's one of those things that kind of still prickles at me once in a while. But now that I know better, I've been able to deal with it, and also be able to parent a little differently.
So do you do like any coaching or anything? Not on this topic, but as in general.
Do I do any what? Coaching?
Coaching, yeah, coaching.
Yeah. So my relaxed productivity work, I've got, so I developed a methodology of how to think about life, and it's called Inner Engineering. And I wrote a course to help talk about those concepts that I called Relaxed Productivity. So I have a digital course on that. And then I also, after the first time I ran that, people were going, we want some more. So I created a Relaxed Productivity membership, and that's been going for over a year now. So it's just been really fun helping people, give them tools on how to deal with life in a way that's authentic to them. So I'm not telling them how to think, but I'm telling them how to read themselves so
Okay.
that they can figure it out for themselves, because we all have different answers to the same problem.
And then how do you get your clients? Is it like word of mouth,
Well,
or do you put it out there?
it's mostly been word of mouth. It's mostly been my personal connections,
Okay.
because my background was engineering, and I speak to people who are busy professionals. It was like my LinkedIn profile, my connections, my
Yeah.
personal connections were my best ideal clients. This fall, I'm going to be, expanding the circle a little bit, using more social media and ads, and seeing, yeah, if I can connect with people that I don't have a history with.
Okay. And is there a sequel of the book coming out? Maybe flush it and move on.
Yeah, maybe. My next book is going to be on relaxed productivity, to sort of be, an accompaniment to my courses and my memberships. And I don't know, like maybe there is a sequel to this. I don't know. That's a good
Okay,
question.
how many books have you written to date? Was this the
Well,
first one?
this is my first nonfiction, and then a little secret. I write fiction under a pen name, and there I've got 22 titles. So I've written a lot of fiction, and that was totally by accident. But this is my first nonfiction under my real name.
Okay, where can people get the book from?
They can buy it anywhere they buy online books, like Amazon, or it's in anywhere you can buy ebooks. Also, at any bookstore, they can order it in.
Brilliant, fantastic. Okay, and finally, finish this sentence off. The world needs less crap and more
Connection. We need to understand each other more. We need to find that red thread with. You can find it with anyone in the world, and I think once we get that, we have more love and understanding. It's like the solution to world peace. Well, talking too big, but
communication.
in my book, I say, having enough toilet paper is a solution to world peace. And there was some truth to that a few years ago.
Yeah, during the pandemic.
Yep. But there's sometimes the simple thing of finding that one thing that connects you to another person. So we need more of that.
Brilliant. So what's next for you? You said you're going to do another book. Or
Yep.
So do you still write fiction?
I paused it for last year, but I just got a big book deal, so I might be writing more of that in the future. So we'll see.
Your fiction stuff, even though it's under like an alias name or under your pen name, if people were to see Angela Jamieson, and this book was to come up, would the pen name be linked to it?
No.
Was that completely undercover?
It's completely undercover, and I don't know whether to reveal that or not. So if anyone's really curious, you can DM me on any one of my
definitely.
platforms. But I don't know. Like I need to poll more people on whether they reveal their pen names or not.
Excellent. Okay, and before you go, did you get a nomination for me, or are you gonna let me know?
What are you talking about?
Or did I not say to you, get me a nomination? So I normally ask my guests to nominate somebody to come on. So somebody in your network to come on and talk.
No, but so I haven't asked this person, so I'm not going to.
Oh, no, ask them first. Yeah, okay, you can tell me afterwards. But Angela, thank you very much.
It's been a pleasure.
All the best, and all the best with your book, and all the best if you pull out another book as well.
Hey, thanks a lot. It's been
flush it and move on.
So much fun talking to you, Biggie.
Thank you very much, Angela. All the best. Have a good one.
Okay,
Take care. Bye.